You're listening to Building the Broncos with Nick Kendell and Carl Dumler, Broncos country's leading draft and scouting analysts. Get on over to milehighhuddle.com to sound off on all things Broncos.
Get the Broncos page up on Mile High Huddle here before we're totally off the ground here. And second spinning wheel. It's still spinning. Oh my gosh. Please, baby. There we go.
Yeah.
Tuesday nights can officially start. Welcome in, guys. Building the Broncos, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Carl, how are you doing, buddy?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. Got to hit the golf course with my daughter for the first time this year.
Wow.
And
okay.
So that was nice. I bought her clubs for Christmas. Nice. And so first time her getting to use her new clubs. And always excited when your kid is excited about something you like. It's kind of a nice little bonding time. So, yeah, it's been a good day. My voice is a little off because I had 2 soccer games yesterday. And it was blowing like 50 miles per hour. So trying to yell to get the kids' attention, I don't have much of a voice today. So if I start squeaking, I'm just telling you that's why it's happening here. I'm not going through puberty here.
Not again. That was me Monday morning with Scott on the Broncos for breakfast. Like I was like trying to talk, but my voice just kept cracking and whatnot. I mean, after being on air for 18 hours, Thursday through Saturday, I was still trying to catch up. But guys, yeah, man, we're in here. A lot of people in the chat. No supers in here yet, but want to say hello to a bunch of people coming in here. Obviously, we got Jimmy Shore in the house. Rebels Legacy. Rebels is almost always one of the first commenters, so we appreciate Rebels being active in here. Harold Richards in here. Jay Kozad, Diamond Rattler, William Catalano in here. Robert Kitchens, Adam Wadman, Shady, Stoney, Aaron coming in here. Aaron, excuse me. I know he was kept asking for Chad and Zach on the live stream Saturday. Sorry, Aaron, you get us today, but we appreciate you being in here. Jedi Hut, May the 4th, Carl.
I know. Big day. You doing anything to celebrate?
I'm going to watch the best trilogy that I know of, Lord of the Rings. No, I'm just I've always been a Lord of the Rings guy. I know I'm much more of that fantasy nerd, but guys, we should probably get in here. Jedi's Hut's in here. Jimmy Shore, Michael Drake, Maniac Monster, Jamal Killings. Hello, MHH. How you doing, Jamal? Jamal joined us this morning. Jedi Hut saying we love you, Nick. Carl too. We love Carl. Carl's the nicer of us. Rattler in the house. Andy Cowhick in the house. Zach Phillips in the house. Oh man, we got a full house. Almost 200 people. Guys, this is Building the Broncos. Welcome in. I am Nick Kendell along with Carl Dumler. You can follow this show at Twitter at BTB Football Pod. Also, make sure you're following Carl and myself at Carl Dumler MHH and me at Nick Kendell MHH. Also follow the mothership where all of our content is, whether it be the podcast, live streams, video content, articles, etc., at Mile High Huddle. You guys are going to want to check that out. Also, if you're joining this hat, Carl's not wearing his hat today, so he's got the fine blown hair going on. But huddleuppod.com, get your swag on. That would be great. If you guys are joining us on YouTube today, help us a heck of a lot. Subscribe, like, and share. Or if you're joining us on Facebook, click those thumbs up, click those heart reacts. I just saw it jump by 4 or 5 on my end, so appreciate you guys doing that. And before we get any further, we need to tell you about our presenting sponsor today, Manscaped. And Carl, looks like your beard looks a little bit trimmed up there. Have you been manscaping it up?
I have. I really have. It's always a nice little tool every few weeks. Get this nice and cleaned up. You know, the wife likes to kiss lips, not hair. And but it is. It's nice to get it trimmed up and looking good, and got to look good for the camera, for my job. So yeah, Manscaped is a big help. And so I do want to say thank you to them for all the help that they've given me. And especially as we get ready to head into the summer, it's nice to always to have everything trimmed up and looking good and looking your best. You got to be, beach body ready. Oh. Manscaped can help with that. It is the best in men's below the waist grooming, offering precision engineered tools for your family jewels and helping 2 million men around the world keep their male grooming on point. So, gentlemen out there, make sure that as you get ready to go into summer, Manscaped is here for you to reboot and stay clean and shaved for 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. I am just on the precipice of a backpacking trip in the Enchanted Valley. So stoked. Really excited to do something off the grid here. Unplug for a little bit, recharge. That'll be great. But even though I am going to be away from doing the Manscaped read on Saturday, the 15th, I'm going to bring my crop mop with me because, my gosh, you don't want to have issues where you have some chafing or any issues underneath, especially in a tent with multiple people. that's, you don't want to be the gross one in there. So make sure you check out the crop mop. They have other great stuff too. Obviously they have the lawnmower 3.0 though. That's the crown jewel. I mean, that is the Lamborghini of men's beauty hair maintenance products. So you want to check them out as well. Also, guys, make sure when you go to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free shipping with the code HUDDLE. Once again, 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com if you use the code HUDDLE. Spring has sprung. Summer's right around the corner. So you guys definitely want to make sure you check out Manscaped, because the more skin you show, the more hair you're going to show, and you don't want to be that guy. So let's get into it. Speaking of that guy, just have to get it out of the way here. It's going to be the main topic of the show. But we want to get to our supers here first, actually, real quick. John Houston coming in here with the $2 super over on YouTube. Thank you very much, John. Knew we should have drafted Jenkins in the second. Hindsight GMing is unfortunate, but he was my number 10 overall player on my board, I think. And man, it would have been nice to get one of those tackles there, but especially Jenkins in the second. Oh man, hindsight's 2020 though, so we'll see.
Right. It does sound like there was some injury concern there. Did he have a hip? Something wrong with his hip?
Yep.
And then also he had some character concerns. Got into a fight with a coach. So
allegedly.
Allegedly. So, I mean, we're just saying some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that we've heard. Doesn't mean it's true. But there are reasons that he fell down the draft, because you watch the tape, and you're right. Probably 10th best player, especially, if you're looking at the Broncos and what they need.
25.
And
definitely a first-round player.
Yeah, easily a top first-round pick. But, it's hindsight. I guess we're kind of running into this even last year. Same thing, where they didn't really go after tackle. And here we are.
Yep.
Broncos didn't have a player to really kind of fill out that role, kind of shuffled in different guys, hoping one of them would work out. Dawson did all right, but it wasn't anything to write home about and just get excited. And so here we are again, kind of trying to figure out who's going to play right tackle. I know we're probably going to talk a little bit about some different options out there. There are still some veterans. And so we'll see. I see Blaze DeLobo coming in here. Dennis Kelly is the best available right tackle. He definitely has plenty of starts under his belt and played for a very strong team in the Titans last year. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the best player, but at this point, you're not getting best players either. So there's a decent
amount of tackles, though. Like there really is. Like I don't think you're getting as good as Juwan James, but I want to get this to here. Jay Kozad real quick. Was a little surprised they didn't get a tackle in the second or third round, but I think they thought James was going to ball out. They had James on contract and they were going to use him this year, but by no means were the Broncos out of tackle in this draft class. There was 2 in the third round. Brady Christensen went the pick before him. He was going to be the guy. I've confident asked multiple people. He was going to be the pick. He went to the Panthers the pick before, so the Broncos traded back. They were also interested in Spencer Brown, who went 4 picks before the Broncos picked Quinn Miners. Excited to have Quinn Miners. Whatever. I'm excited the guys we got still, but Spencer Brown would have been nice. And in the 5th round, the Bills sniped us again, taking Tommy Doyle. So Broncos were looking for tackles. It just sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes you get sniped. Sometimes you are the sniper. Broncos also sniped the Dolphins from taking Javonte Williams. That's who they were going to take, and then they had to pivot. The Broncos sniped the Cowboys. Cowboys got sniped a few times, so pretty unfortunate. But that's the breaks, man. That's the NFL draft. You got to be able to pivot when those things happen. So we want to get Marcus in here, or Mr. Boggins. I'm sorry I keep saying your first name. I know you, man. We're bros. we're internet friends, soon to be real life friends once everybody is all fully immunized. But Mr. Boggins coming in here saying #HindsightPod. Man, first off, before we even get any further, I want to beg the chat to try to keep the vitriol at a minimum, because this is an unfortunate thing that happened to Juwan James. I know he's only played 36 snaps in the 2 years that he's been with the Broncos right now, but this sucks. Right. And he is going to have to go through a terrible Achilles rehab process, out of the facility, losing $10 million. You can have your opinions about how tough he is or the contract, et cetera, but we can all agree that this is unfortunate. And I feel bad for the human being, Juwan James. And we'll get into the specifics there, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would say I had a lot more issues with his first year, where team doctors were saying, dude, you can play. And him saying, no, I don't feel like I can play. I have more issues with that than this. Just because, I mean, Achilles tear, it's an Achilles tear. There's not much you can do about it. It happens sometimes. I mean, we see plenty of players go through it, and it's just one of those, you can't play with it. You can't fight against it. It just randomly happens at different times. So, and really, I don't think there's much training you can do. I mean, you can do some stretches and stuff like that, but there's not much you can really even do off the field to prepare to not have this happen to you. So there's a few things. I'm not a complete expert on this kind of stuff, but like I said, it is pretty random. So it just unfortunate timing, and unfortunately, again, just the same player again.
Yeah. Yep. It sucks. And I don't want to be that guy to take a lap when somebody gets injured, but we were going into this cycle and it's like, oh man, the Broncos have Juwan James already. And it's like, I trust Juwan James as far as I can throw him. And that was more to do with toughness. He's one of those guys that if he's not feeling 100%, he doesn't really want to give it a go from what I've gathered. And the teammates had to say he had to re-earn the trust. Well, ship has sailed. And it's unfortunate, but we got Sean Wheelage coming in here with the chat over on YouTube. Thank you for joining us today, Sean. Is it a good thing he got injured away from the facility? I mean, there's no way to say this is. I don't want to spin this as a good thing. Now, what are the ramifications of him getting injured away from the facility? The NFLPA, the union, said that players should be not going to facilities right now. They're trying to really leverage this whole pandemic situation so the players don't have to go in as much. So they encourage players to work out from home, and or outside of the facility. That's what happened with Juwan James. But because he suffered this injury outside of the facility, the Broncos are off the hook for $10 million of Juwan James's contract. Now, what does that mean? Are the Broncos going to, like they have the right to do, not give him any of that money? Are they going to do like some sort of what do you call it when you come to an agreement? A settlement. A settlement of something. Thank you. A settlement of some sort. That's possible. But, a lot of people, I saw Patrick Mahomes trying to give the Broncos a hard time about it. Listen, buddy, didn't your team just release 2 injured offensive tackles that are still not healthy enough? And they lost a lot of money too. Like, Chiefs should not be throwing rocks, right? They live in the most glass house. Yeah. But that's it's not a good thing, but the ramifications are the Broncos can save $10 million, which might put them at the most cap space in the NFL. Right now, if they do go that route, I think they're really close to having the most. So ramifications, we'll see. But tackle was a need going into this. Now it's really a need. And speaking of really a need, we got Andy Cowitt coming in here with the $10 super over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Andy. We appreciate it. Keeping the lights on in here, helping us out a lot, letting us know that you enjoy the Building the Broncos podcast, #1 in your hearts and minds. He says, do you guys think they will pay James his money to avoid a bad vibe in the locker room or make an example of him in regards to the workout dispute? #May the 4th be with you. Carl, what do you think? This is a tough situation. I don't think Juwan James is disliked in the locker room by any means, but I also think he's not been involved, right? Like he's not, they don't know him. We haven't heard from him. Last year as well. So I don't know if the first one he mentions here, the bad vibe in the locker room, guys are still going to be upset because what does that mean overall? But I don't know if it's going to be if this happened to Von Miller and they pulled this, there would be issues. If there was going to happen to one person in the Broncos team that there might not be as much fallout from it, it would be probably Juwan James. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one player that other teammates have actually spoken out against. I mean, that's kind of saying that he's got to earn back that trust. So there's a trust that was broken between them as players. Yeah. And that was said by a couple of offensive linemen there. And so, like I said, I don't think he was disliked. He just was not liked. He was not well known. And so you're right. I don't think this one would be that big of a deal if the Broncos did decide to keep the money. It would maybe be a little bit of a bad taste for players. But I think at this point, players and owners all just don't really have a whole lot of trust anyway. Players are just yeah, we know. Go get our money. Owners are going, yeah, we're going to save as much money as we possibly can. And so it's just, I think it's just that another reminder, if you can go get the money, go get the money. I don't think it really changes too much for players.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if people are pointing vitriol and irritation at the Broncos for potentially moving on from him here, the NFLPA, these guys leverage this and do the risk, right? This is in the contracts, and getting injured outside. This isn't something that they went into this knowing that if this happened, you might have some fallout from it. they bet that it wouldn't happen, kind of like the Broncos bet that Juwan James wouldn't get injured and they can have him at right tackle this year. And it didn't work out. So here we are. Now it's time to just kind of see what happens from there, what we think should happen. It's not a great situation to be in. It's not going to absolutely kill the Broncos. Like, did the Broncos offensive line, like they didn't have Juwan James at all last year. Was it the worst offensive line in football? No. And I would say that the center position was an equal issue to right tackle last season. You're not in a position where you have somebody you have real faith in, at least myself. I know that Calvin Anderson, man, do you think he tweeted that thing out knowing about Juwan James? And then he came out right afterwards saying like, oh no, I didn't. I just read the news. That tweet wasn't about the injury. And it's like,
what did he say?
He said, I finally know my purpose with like the shh. Like it was like 5 minutes after Juwan James was hurt.
Oh,
and like, I didn't mean that with Juwan James. I just found out. It's like, buddy, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
My BS meter is going off. I'm cynical. I'll fully admit it, but
yeah, it's one of those. Judge Judy always says, if it's too good to be true, it's not true.
Oh man, we got a Judge Judy reference in here today.
That's right.
God bless.
Had to do it. That's my guilty pleasure right there, Judge Judy.
Man, mine is watching 2022 prospects the day after the draft. George Newton coming in here with a $5 super over on YouTube. And this is a good topic here. I know a lot of people in the chat have been, Carl, if you see anybody that pulls up some names here, we're doing our own producing here today. George Newton, who replaces Juwan James? Do you guys think this is going to be an issue? It's not great, right? Like, it's going to be an issue. Well, yes, to some extent it will be, because you don't want to go into the season, especially in the AFC West, where there's a bunch of good pass rushers that attack the right tackle. Right. But who replaces Juwan James? We have a few names. A lot of people in the chat have been throwing some out there. Eric Fisher is one of them. I think Eric Fisher, and I've seen some people in the chat mention Charles Leno as well. Those two interest me. Eric Fisher, the Achilles, we don't know. But both of those guys I don't even know if they played a snap in the NFL at right tackle. Doesn't mean they can't. Mike Kliss even went out of his way to list specifically Charles Leno. But the fact that they haven't played right tackle, it's not an easy 1-for-1 swap. Talking with Tristan Wirfs before his junior season at Iowa, he said that going from right tackle to left tackle, he can do it, but it's kind of like wiping your butt with your other hand, right? It's just not comfortable. You don't have the reps doing it. So that's a gross analogy there, but whatever, it's fine. CC, what's up, Bronco country? Wouldn't mind Dennis Kelly as a right tackle option. I think he is a tad underrated, and I agree with CC here. I do think he is a tad underrated.
Yep. Got Jason Douglas Lewis coming in saying DeMar Dotson is a free agent. In 8 games last year, he didn't give up a sack, and I didn't get why Wilkinson got the job back after he returned from injury. Well, I can answer the second part of that. Essentially, Broncos wanted to kind of see, is Wilkinson going to be a part of our future? I mean, they know what they have in Dotson. Below average right tackle, better in pass protection than he is run support, but not a guy that you really want starting if you can avoid it. Where Wilkinson, like I said, they're still trying to figure out, is this guy any part of our future? He answered that question pretty loudly. No. Yeah. Not a part of our future.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks, but here we are, and we got Gage coming in here, Gage Madrid. We really need to get DeMar Dotson back in the building. I feel gutted for Juwan, but DeMar has been our best right tackle since Orlando Franklin. Hey, I remember the few snaps from Billy Turner. Right, like he was okay out there. Honestly, I mean, the Packers paid him, and he's been pretty good out there. So, it is what it is. It's hopefully they will bring in somebody here. Another one we haven't talked about yet is Bobby Massey, who has a lot of starts at right tackle. Played for the Bears for a while. Vic Fangio knows him. I mean, either way, this isn't a great situation to be in. There are only like 20 quality starting tackles, both left and right in the league in general, but not great.
And should we talk about the 2 Chiefs tackles, because those names keep coming up? Yes. I'll start with Mitchell Schwartz. He is not healthy enough to pass a physical. So no team
be signed.
Do what?
If he was, he would be signed right now. He's been that good.
Right. So right now there's just no chance that he'd be signed. Doesn't mean that eventually down the road he couldn't be, but I think the Broncos are probably going to try to find somebody before he could pass a physical. Then Eric Fisher, he got injured towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that he'd be ready week 1. You need a week 1 ready kind of guy, and he is just not it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad situation to be in. I want to take your temperature here while I kind of comb through the chat here. Carl, what are your thoughts about the potential of Calvin Anderson? He has looked much better at left tackle, in my opinion, but there's an opening out right tackle, and the Broncos didn't bring in a tackle. They tried in the draft. They didn't bring one in. And then I think couple people in the media said, oh, well, that's a sign for Calvin Anderson, which, that's just kind of when things don't go your way, you're going to gas up the guys already on your roster. But that's how it is. So what are your thoughts about Calvin Anderson for that right tackle spot? Competing, right? Like at least competing.
Yeah, I don't mind him competing. I mean, I don't mind really anybody competing for a roster spot or a starting position. The only player, there's very few players you're sitting there saying are completely locked into their spot. I mean, Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Shelby Harris. I mean, I guess a lot of the defensive players are pretty locked in. Offensively, of course, you got Garrett Bowles locked in.
Yeah.
The wide receivers are pretty locked in, and tight end, of course. But otherwise, yeah, I don't mind him getting a shot. I don't know who I want to compete against him. Do I want it to be a Dalton Reisner as A.J. Zillinger comes in here? Anyway, Reisner goes out to tackle and Miners to guard. Also, does Stearns kind of remind you of Sua Cravens? Repping from Kansas, hashtag state of being, hashtag MHH. Yes, love the repping from Kansas. I don't mind even Reisner getting a chance to go out there. I mean, he's gotten plenty of reps there at left guard. We know what he is at left guard. If he's maybe our best option, then so be it. Yeah. He did play right tackle in college and obviously did a great job. He's got the shorter arms, so you kind of like to keep him at guard. And I hate the idea of kind of moving players around like that because then you weaken your interior offensive line group that we just talked about during the draft. We're like, man, they finally have some great interior guys. They got depth. This is the best that it's looked in a long time. And so I hate to hurt that.
Yeah.
So my feeling right now is that the Broncos will have Calvin Anderson and then they'll go sign a veteran and have them battle it out for the position.
And they'll probably use some of that money that they can recoup because James got injured outside of the facility to go sign that tackle. Yep. And there's not a lot of teams with money right now. So the Broncos might be able to get somebody for pretty cheap in comparison. So we'll see. We got Credam coming in here with the $4.99 super over on YouTube. Credam, thank you very much for showing us the love. I say we don't pay him because now we have to go out and sign. Wow. That pulled it up. I guess I should have known. Credam's whispering in my ear. Yeah. But he said that money is needed. The Broncos don't necessarily need that money because they have a lot of cap space. Now, if you're talking about bringing on Rodgers and what would it be, $25 million cap it, then you do need it. Yeah. But that's a good point, Credam. I think it sucks, but that's also the name of the business, right? Like guys get injured and they get moved on from. So it stinks. I
did want to ask you the second part there of AJ Zillinger's super chat. Does Stern remind you of Sua Cravens?
No, Sua Cravens is much more of a box player. I think Stearns can do more cornerback slot, deep safety stuff. Like Cravens, as a deep split field safety, lost, right? He was playing like 220. Like he was what Sua Cravens was what people wanted. No. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is what people wanted Sua Cravens to be as like a player. And that's a fine fit for that defense. But like he's just not as athletic, not as twitchy. He's just that type of hybrid, the linebacker safety one. So. Is what it is. And we got Tim coming in. I had to pick it because he has the Iowa Hawkeye logo here, so it caught my eye. But he says, I don't see Reisner as a viable right tackle or a viable tackle. I know he played OT in college, but thinking about him at right tackle scares me. It's Wilkinson 2.0 and seeing a guard trying to fill in at tackle. That's why yesterday on the Facebook page, I criticized the Williams draft pick. They should have gone right tackle there. Well, you know me, I probably would have sat there at 40 and see how the board fell because pick 114, I did value that one. But if I was trading up there, I'm probably taking Tevin Jenkins. But that's with hindsight. Like I didn't hate the move up because it was small, and they got the last tier 1 running back. So sucks in hindsight, but that's the NFL, man. There's going to be other guys that get injured on this roster. Right. You're going to have to be able to overcome it.
You can't draft with the idea of I think this player is going to get hurt. Yeah, I understand. Like some players, hey, we need a little bit of protection because they do get hurt a lot. But you also don't want to be reaching for a player just because you are afraid this guy's not going to make it. And we have heard that Munchak really didn't sign off on a lot of tackles in this draft. He was very picky about the guys that he liked and where he liked them in the draft. And it just didn't work out that the Broncos were able to get a guy at the value that they wanted. I'd say the one place you maybe could say they have a quarrel would be they're in the first round. Mm-hmm. Surtain compared to Slater. I don't know how he felt about Slater. I've heard that they had him as their top tackle in the draft, but obviously they had Surtain pretty high too.
Yeah,
And,
fifth overall player. Did I hear that? Fifth overall, maybe.
And you think about the cornerbacks. It wouldn't surprise me for one of the cornerbacks to go down. Then we're going to be like, oh, I'm really glad we have Surtain. So it's kind of either way, you're going to run into some problems probably.
It happened at the one position, though, where I feel the least good about the depth, right? Like the only other position I'd be that concerned about would probably be, honestly, that's it, right? Like it's literally the tackle position is the one where they have the least depth. And also, here's a fun fact for you. The Broncos have not drafted a tackle since that 2017 draft with Garrett Bowles. Not even drafted one. So, they've been really investing in the offensive line, but not the tackle position, so to speak, over the past few seasons. So the tackle bros, as I like to call them, maybe they got this one. You win this time, tackle bros. Speaking of winning, Bryce coming in here over on YouTube with the $9.99 super. Bryce, thank you so much. We see you. James has always been a head scratcher, never liked the move. What do you think we'll do at right tackle? Sign somebody or move someone over? Also, it's my birthday. Happy birthday, Bryce.
Happy birthday to you. I don't have my singing voice.
My grandma's birthday as well. So happy birthday. Everyone in the chat, happy birthday to Bryce. Make sure you drop it in there. Just show a little bit of niceness out there. I think the Broncos will sign somebody, right? They have the cash to do it. They're not up against the ceiling. There are plenty of veteran tackles out there, which is awesome, right? Like not great guys, but like better than probably what a lot of teams have. And you're just kind of waiting for something like this where you can pivot. So I think they bring somebody in, and Reisner is more of like, if you're in the season and there's not many options left, then you're like, okay, well, now we don't have any options. We better go that way. But maybe though, I don't know.
How often has it worked out well to move one of your guards out to tackle? Not often.
Yeah. Larry Tunsil, but he wasn't drafted for that purpose. That was just like,
he's always right.
Yep. Brian Greenfield coming in with a $15 super. Man, one up in Brian on the birthday boy. That's not nice. No, it's actually really nice. Thank you so much. Brian Greenfield. I've been saying when everyone was all down on Bulls, a far worse move was to be worried about JJ Soft Kitty. Everyone was all down on Bulls. A far worse move was being worried about JJ Soft Kitty. Well, Brian, Juwan James, I mean, you had hope for him. I think he was the 19th overall pick in 2012, 2014, something like that. Good athlete, always had the body type to do it. Did some guard, did some tackle stuff at the University of Tennessee, but here we are, man. It's a bummer. Here we are. I also got a good chuckle today. Albright adding Joe Thomas on Twitter saying, hey, what are you up to? I think, do you think Joe Thomas would come out over time? He's probably lost all his body mass. He would. I
was going to say he's down 100 pounds. So I have a hard time seeing him be able to get ready for a season.
I mean, if Aaron Rodgers came back, I would be like, you know what? Maybe that's just me though. We got Angel coming in with the $5 super. Thank you so much. It's been a minute, fellas. Well, don't make it so long, Angel. That's on you. We're here. No, I was kidding. Got to show you some love. Keep rocking. # Bronx Legend. Well, thank you so much, Angel. We appreciate you. It has been a long time, but man, that is great to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. And I want to make sure, hopefully I didn't miss anybody. The chat jumped on me here, but if I did, let me know, guys. We got Daheen coming in here. So who in the next draft should we be looking for at the new right tackle? Well, believe it or not, I do have a name. He is a absolute phenom, probably my favorite player on this offensive line this past year, and should be a top 10 pick. So the Broncos probably won't get him, but it's fun to dream. Evan Neal, right tackle for Alabama, like 6'8", 360 pounds. My sweet Jesus, like what an absolute mountain of a man. And it's like kind of a Orlando Brown, but he's like functionally looks like a much better athlete.
Right.
So I really like Evan Neal. If you get a chance to go watch any Najee Harris, just look for the biggest guy on that offensive line because he is an absolute unit. But there's a right tackle to look at for next year. We'll see a few more emerge, I'm sure.
Did Alabama have the biggest offensive line, even if you include the NFL?
I think actually Miami.
Did they? Okay.
Miami had like a freaking monster offensive line. Nobody was under. None of the starters were under like 325 pounds.
Oh, geez. Yeah. It's ridiculous the size that you're seeing offensive linemen get to. There's got to be a breaking point here at some point because the body just can't handle that much weight, that much force coming in. I don't know. I always worry about those big boys.
Yeah, I mean, it's the knees. It's all that weight. It's whatever you can do there, but that's life. We've got all the happy birthdays coming in here. So that'll be great. Oh, Kenneth Booker. maybe Kendall Hinton can play right tackle. He's pretty darn versatile. Well, he's going to have to wake up and grow a heck of a lot and be living at the Golden Corral, but you never know, man. You never know. So, Carl, gun to your head right now, what would you say is the most likely outcome for the Broncos to solve this right tackle position? Obviously, it's a bad situation for where you're at right now, especially just this close after the draft. Maybe it would have changed your plans. Maybe you're talking about Rashawn Slater as a Bronco right now instead of Patrick Surtain. But it is what it is. Maybe we can talk Eric Trickle into going in there and playing right tackle. I don't know if he's got the arm length, but do you have anything where you think is the most likely situation, and B, what you would like to see happen?
I do think a guy like Leno makes a ton of sense from the Bears. Still young enough, has plenty of experience. I just knows Fangio. I feel like there's going to be some comfort there on some of that. And again, you're not going to get a top tier guy. You just need a guy that can come in, do a decent job, and not completely destroy your offense. And right now, I don't feel comfortable if it's Calvin Anderson, if they don't go get somebody else to at least push him in some way. And I don't feel comfortable with the idea of that person being Reisner, because again, you have another injury to your interior offensive line. Well, boom, you're really, really thin now across the offensive line. And I feel like Reisner also still needs more experience at that left guard position. He's still learning. He still has a lot of room to grow. And I just would rather not. I mean, with the limited reps that you have in the offseason, just keep him there, keep him at his original position, and let him grow.
Yeah, I mean, Reisner, let's just call it as it is. He struggled last year. Part of that was probably because of Cushenberry. Part of that is maybe he's not as good of a scheme fit for the inside zone gap stuff outside of the outside zone stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully he's better this year. The sophomore slump is a real thing. So we'll see. We got George Newton come in here showing us the love over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Mr. Newton, and hope you're doing well over there in YouTube land. What do you guys think of taking Javonte Williams in the second? So, Carl, I'm going to try to keep up here with the super. So I'm going to hand this over to you. What do you think, Javonte Williams?
Yeah, I really love the pick. I think he is I don't know. I'd say the most well-rounded running back in the draft this last year, or in this past draft.
More than Najee Harris?
Yes, I think
Najee
so.
Harris is such a better pass catcher. Like he's more versatile route tree.
I just think Williams is a more natural catcher of the football. I watched both of them catch passes. I just like Williams and the way that he snatches the football. And he just, I don't know. I really love his game.
He reminds me a lot of when I watched him. I went back and watched him. Like, okay, who are the fits here? Who can I say? I see a lot of Kareem Hunt. I see a lot of Kareem Hunt when I watch Javonte Williams. I think he's an angrier runner, but you nailed it with the soft hands. Also, he was the best pass blocking running back in this class.
He pancaked people. Yeah. And that idea of just him being able to be in on third down and be that extra blocker, and you feel comfortable with him being in on third down for that, especially even as a rookie, that you can go out there and trust him to handle some of those things. It just, I love the fit, and it just, I don't know. Like I said, he's the type of running back that you want on your team, because he's a 3-down back. He can run between the tackles. He's got enough speed to get to the edge if you need him to. He picks up the tough yards. He's got great balance, which is something that translates well to the NFL. There's things you're always looking for. Can it translate? Some guys, in college, they have holes that are as wide as a semi truck, and you're going, oh my gosh, look how many yards they got. They have these highlight plays. I'm like, they didn't get touched for 20 yards. This guy, there's plenty of plays where he's getting hit in the backfield, and it's like a third and one play, and somehow he turns it into a first down. Those are the guys that you look at and you say, that translates to the NFL. So I'm excited about what he can bring to this offense. It's something really right now with Melvin Gordon, because Melvin Gordon is kind of an all-around back too. So now you got two guys that no matter who's on the field, you don't have to change the offense at all. Last year you had to change the entire offense depending on which running back was back there, which quarterback was playing. There's so many different things that played into what you could even call on offense. Now it doesn't have to be that way. So like I said, I like the pick. I like that it's in the second round where you're really not paying this guy a whole lot. So for 4 years, you've got him real cost controlled, run him into the dirt, man. And now you got yourself. I know I hate saying that because I mean it's very callous, but it's the truth of the running back position. Go run this guy like crazy. Let him get his 1,000 yards of rushing and passing, and boom, it's going to be an explosive offense.
100%. And the Juwan James thing, obviously in hindsight, not a good investment. But guys, I think I might have found one that is even worse investment. John Houston coming over the $2 super chat. That's not the bad investment. Anyone want to buy my Juwan James jersey? Oh, I know you're kidding, but oh my God, if somebody out there has that, please send me a picture because we got to laugh through the pain, right? That's all we can do here. And also we're moving now to Aaron with the $5 super here. Juwan James, if George Foreman was made of glass. Well, Aaron, if we can't laugh about it, then what are we even doing here? We got Brian Greenfield saying a good night, guys. Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining us for a little bit, and make sure you find us on YouTube afterwards. Right, we're not going anywhere. This stream will be up here pretty darn soon, so we don't want to miss anything here. Don't want to lose it. Okay, we got Call of Duty coming in here saying, I hope the injury trend doesn't start again. This is something you guys, I know everybody's a little bit worried. Oh my God, here we go again. And unless you're the Los Angeles Chargers, the injury bug does not tend to hit the same team over and over again. It really tends to not be, there's no correlation year to year. So unless for whatever God knows reason, the Chargers. But that's something that's really good. Now, that being said, don't fall for the gambler's fallacy. Just because the Broncos had an injury string last year doesn't mean it can't happen this year, right? Like it starts over. But you would expect the Broncos to regress to the mean in terms of the volume of injuries. But $3 super. Hopefully that's from your super to God's ears because we don't need that. This team is ready to make some playoffs. This fan base is really needing to make the playoffs as well.
Yeah, it's true. And that's why I do think there could be a lot of regression for Tampa Bay because they were one of the luckiest teams when it came to injuries. Had hardly any starters miss games. And I mean, they had some wide receiver injuries, but everybody by the end of the season was pretty much healthy. And it's kind of like the Broncos in 2015. I know Peyton Manning and some of the offensive players went down, but defensively, those guys all pretty much stayed healthy the entire year. And that's really rare to see. It's why it's hard to keep a defense together because you got injuries, guys getting paid, guys getting older, all those kind of things. But that's why I see a little bit of regression for them because I do think they'll have a couple serious injuries this year.
I keep getting upset about this Juwan James signing, and it's not fair because he got injured and everything, but we're far enough out now that we can say this. So the year that the Broncos signed Juwan James, which was the 2019 offseason leading into the 2019 season, you remember the article, right? Like the Broncos signing him, and then it was the reaction of a whoopee cushion going off in the Dolphins front office, just laughing about the joke, like, haha, joke's on you. Yeah. Okay. Well, the Broncos retort to that, the media, the fan base, whatever, is like, that can't be true. We have Chris Cooper. Was just with the Dolphins for that entire year. He knows Juwan James. Guess who didn't even talk to Chris Cooper about signing Juwan James and his character and how much work he's putting in, if it was worth signing? Guess who didn't even talk to him?
Yep.
You guessed it. I mean, thank you, John Elway. Appreciate everything you did. And this Bronco team's in a good situation overall. And this is probably the biggest mistake next to Paxton Lynch. But my God, I think you're in a position where you want to gather as much information as you possibly can. And the fact that John Elway didn't use that resource that was Cooper after working with the Dolphins for years, an offensive line assistant coach, it's absolutely mind blowing. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't go into free agency or anything where like, I've wanted this guy forever, I'm just going to go get him. And that's something also, like if John Elway was still in charge and pulling the mainstrings, I am 100% convinced that Sam Darnold would be a Bronco right now because he always had heart eye emoji guy or hearts in the chat, whatever, for Sam Darnold. But bad process and just really frustrating. Just so frustrating.
Yeah, I wanted to get to this question here. Jay Roper coming in. Why do teams have massive amounts of players injured? Just it's the name of the game. I mean, you're having these guys collide into each other, sometimes going each of them 20 miles per hour. And you think about a car wreck. I mean, you're at least protected by the car. Here you got some pads, and that's about it. And you have these two bodies that are colliding at weird angles and at different times. And, the worst ones that I watch are when they have the foot planted and some guy comes in, takes out the knee. there's just the body's not meant to bend in certain ways. And unfortunately, like I said, it's just a game where weird things happen. Guys get hit in weird ways. And throw in, I mean, these guys are pushing their bodies to the very limits. They're trying to see how far they can stretch their body and still hold together. And sometimes they push too hard, like in a workout, and something happens. Who was it? Ryan Clady got hurt playing basketball. Went up, took a shot, came down, I think, on somebody's foot, twisted his ankle, boom. And so it just – a lot of random injuries happen, and when these guys keep getting bigger, faster, and stronger every single year, you're going to see more and more injuries keep piling up.
Yeah, good comment here from Higher Learnings, reiterating the same. Football is getting bigger and faster. Training is getting more intense. More injuries are bound to happen. And also, guys, we're entering a NFL season where there's going to be 17 games. Another chance for guys to get injured. I know that this past draft, a lot of people want a quarterback, myself included, and that, maybe even trading up for it. But the Broncos attacked depth and future needs. And I think this is going to be NFL game. I think it's going to change a little bit. Depth has always been important, but adding one more game just increases the chances you're going to have one of your best players get hurt. So you need to build that entire 53. It just is. It's never been more important. It's going to be very important this season. And
I did want to get to this from Deer's boy. Our strength and conditioning team needs to be canned. There's a lot of NFL players from other teams that come and work with the Broncos strength and conditioning coach during the offseason. There's a lot of draft players that this is who they come work with. So I don't think it's on them that the Broncos have some of these injuries happening. Like I said, it's just pretty random. You have those certain injuries that show up because the strength and conditioning coaches aren't doing a great job. Like I think a lot of
hammies.
Yeah, a lot of hamstrings. Yeah. Those are the ones you're looking at and going, okay, this is on those groups for not doing great with stretching, not great with conditioning, those kind of things. But torn Achilles, you can't put that on the training staff.
Yeah, but I will. Gosh, no, I'm just kidding.
That's right.
We got John coming in. I'm just looking for someplace to place this anger. We got John coming in here. Good comment here. And honestly, this is one that really bummed me out today. Of course. And Andre Villanueva signs today with the Ravens, but he says George Payton should have signed Villanueva tougher and more reliable than James and served his country. So, I mean, country serving or not, I mean, thank him. Thanks to all our veterans joining us today. But, man, if this would have happened, one day difference, Villanueva might be a Bronco, right? Like that's just, man, it's a bummer. We got Luca Rios coming in here. Hey, what's up, guys? Catching it live from Brazil. Go Broncos. Hashtag state of being. You guys just let us know where you're coming from in the chat. We always love to hear it. As Chad likes to say, Broncos country isn't a place. It's not a country of origin or anything. It's a state of being. It's a mindset. So you guys coming over, I mean, been doing the Broncos for breakfast. A lot of Bronco fans across the pond. Really fun to talk with those people. I will say the German names I'm having a hard time with, but I appreciate everyone joining us because it's been a lot. It's been a lot of fun.
All right.
So we got to get to John. Yes. Exactly. Go ahead, Carl.
All right. We got John Houston coming in here with the $4.99 super chat. John, you are the best. This could be a blessing. All right. Hey, we got Mr. Positivity here. We signed an offensive tackle that actually played last year. James hasn't played for like 2 years. Well, we don't even know if he would be good. Well, I mean, you're not wrong completely. We don't know what Juwan James is going to be. We don't know how well he was going to work with the coaching staff, all those kind of things. So maybe this does kind of work out in the Broncos' favor in that sense, and you get a guy that's a little bit more trusted that he's going to stay healthy for the entire season. I don't know. I mean, yeah, half glass full right there from John Houston for you guys. Maybe this will work out better for the Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually pull up another one, Carl, because I'm trying to verify something in the comments here.
Okay. Let's see. Let me find a good one. Winston Painter. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. From Mo Ron. Man, that was a long time ago in the drafts. And we got, of course, in short, a waste of money. Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the worst contracts the Broncos have ever had in the history of the Broncos. I'm having a hard time remembering many others that were this bad. But Mike Garofolo coming in here with from Twitter. He said, on the Juwan James situation, doctors evaluated the Broncos offense tackle's torn Achilles today and told him they're hopeful he won't miss the entire season, source says. Surgery is slated for later this week, and they'll know more about the recovery time frame then. Oh.
And we got Dr. Chow coming in here saying the reporting is accurate, but Broncos have to have a plan B. Can't count on this. So, maybe some hope there for everybody, but I don't know. I mean, okay, Carl, let's say this is a thing. I don't know if the contract can work out this way, but you might be able to get Juwan James, for the last, let's be even optimistic about it, the last month of the season.
Yeah.
You going with that? $10 million, like with the cap.
I'm taking the $10 million and signing a guy like Leno or another name I saw out there, Ricky Wagner.
Yes. Yep.
Another guy that can play. So, yeah, I'd rather go spend that on a guy that I feel like can actually last all 17 games and hopefully into the playoffs as well. And especially if you are bringing in a guy like Aaron Rodgers, I want him to know that that's going to be a protection that's going to be okay. Like, honestly, I want him to know the Broncos are the team he has to go to and tell the Packers, like, I don't want to play for anybody else. You have to trade me to the Broncos.
Honestly, Aaron Rodgers is in Denver area right now. Reported it was all over Reddit and stuff. He was up in Boulder with his fiance, Shailene Woodley. And, if for some reason, and I'm not advocating for this in any way, but if the Broncos, through back channels, maybe Mark Schlereth was like, hey, Aaron, the Broncos might have an opening at right tackle now. Here's the market. Is there anybody that you would like? We're just looking for a little bit of, just your opinion. There's no reason. But is there any right tackle on the market that you're like, you know what? I'd like to get that guy.
Yeah.
And they should not reach out to him. The Broncos official organization should not reach out to Rodgers.
Yeah.
But I would be curious to know who he wants, just for that information.
Right. Well, I mean, and you think about his biggest issue with the Packers is he feels so disrespected by the things they've done. How big of a sign of respect would that be of, hey, we're sending out Mark Schlereth to get the underground information, bring it back to us just to show, like we really want you. And we're going to value your opinion of who you want playing that right tackle spot. That would be huge.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say hello to Tacoma, Washington there.
Sorry.
Curtis Everett. I'm up in Seattle as well. So good to see some Pacific Northwest Bronco fans. I will say I do not hate the Seahawks despite them tearing my heart out in 2013. There are much worse organizations and teams out there, and I like Russell Wilson. But, it's good to have some orange up here because there's a lot of that the green and navy. I mean, all their sports teams have the same colors. It's kind of weird. Yeah. I mean, cool, good for them. It's kind of like Pittsburgh with black and gold. But thank you and hello in Tacoma. I will be down that way in a couple days. We got Michael Simpson coming in with the $10 super with all the emoticons as well. He's really celebrating here. I'm not advocating for the celebration, but you do you, Michael. He said, so long, Juwan, one of the greatest heists in history. $30 million for 61 snaps. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Well, I definitely have some sorrow for Juwan James. I want to preface it with that, but also I didn't trust him very much this season after missing 2 years. I trust him even less now, though this Mike Garofalo bit where he could be back at the end of the year. Okay. At what level? I think I would rather have Calvin Anderson out there in the unprovenness than Juwan James plus $10 million than paying Juwan James for potentially having him for the end of the season.
Yeah. Are you winking at the chat these days?
I mean, there's a lot of good looking people out here, and I would do some terrible, unforgivable things for supers. Anything over 99 cents, you name it. No, I'm just, it's maybe they shouldn't totally not reach out to him, but just make it not official. Like if Elway and Peyton Manning happened to be at the golf course at Cherry Creek at the same time that Aaron Rodgers had a tee time, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. They should not plan on it, but if they happen to overlap, is what it is.
Well, and we know that Mark Schlereth and Aaron Rodgers text each other. I mean, as soon as Mark Schlereth put out his report, one of his first texts was from Aaron Rodgers saying, hey, where did you hear this? So that's kind of neat that they at least have that kind of connection. I know he's been connected to their to the McAfee show, Pat McAfee show. And there's a lot of old Packers that are on that show as well. And Aaron Rodgers used to go on that show once a week. So there's a lot of different connections the Broncos could make. And it'd be a lot of fun to see some of the ex-Packers that kind of talk about the Broncos. And if Aaron Rodgers was here, that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
And Shailene Woodley, we're talking about her. She was on Big Little Lies, which is a great HBO show if you have not checked it out. So we got I Am Supreme 22 coming in here with the $2 super. Juwan James made a paper mache soft DNA. Ah, man. I'm everybody. This is the you got to live by. If you're talking smack about somebody, which is you're right, think 3 nice things, right? Like he's made some money. He's played in the league for years and he went to an SEC school. So good for him. Also, I think he has a daughter that was born pretty recently. So hopefully they're doing well and hopefully they're taken care of with everything and that big contract. So we're just going to put a little bit of positive energy out there into the universe because we definitely need it, right? We don't need this avalanche to continue of injuries. We got Ras Spotnik coming in here with probably the sticker. No John today, so I cannot show the sticker, but we do really appreciate the super there over on YouTube. Thanks a lot. And severance is a good word as well from Cake Mondragon saying so if they Bronx settlement fits too. So thank you. If I ever get in legal trouble or something with my business, I will be seeking you out to give me some advice. Yep. And we got AJ Zillinger coming in here.
Here we go.
6'7" Osweiler in at tackle. He has long arms. Carl, what do you think?
Man, if he could put on 100 pounds, that dude right there, that could be a dude out there. And that'd be great for the Broncos. Get a guy that helped them win a Super Bowl, come back, help them win another Super Bowl, just at a different position. He could do the Tim Tebow, go from quarterback to tight end, going from quarterback to offensive tackle. I think that'd be the weirdest transition we've ever seen of any player out there. But hey, I wouldn't mind seeing Osweiler around Denver again.
I mean, we saw him. He's got some good reach when there was that whole pizza fight, right? Where he was just holding the pizza and holding back that looked like a disoriented person that was not having a good time. And he held her back, right? Like the good leverage, good strike, always in control, good his hands locked on. All these things you're looking for with offensive linemen. Maybe not the best knee bend, but he had an advantage. So thank you, AJ, for the laugh. That's all we can do right now with that. So, man, Carl, I'm kind of upset about. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we got Mark Anthony answering he followed your example. Good idea. Good things about James. He is rich. He was an NFL player and had a nice 2-year vacation. Bad thing. No eyebrows. Is a robber. Is softer than my 90-year-old grandpa. Yeah, I'll stop there. But
oh my God, we had somebody on the super chat this morning whose name was Striper, something like Striper Killer, and I did not read it that way.
Oh,
let me just tell you, I was like, man, I don't know if I should read this, but blah blah blah. He's like, Nick, there's only one P in there. Moving on. And we got here we go. Swink McLeod saying the Cherry Creek Golf Fund wink. Cherry Creek Golf Club Fund wink wink. Yeah, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. No, man. It would be interesting. Is there any other names out here? We always talked about tackle a lot again, and people joining us now that weren't joining us before. The Broncos had interest in tackle in the draft. The board just did not fall that way. They were set to take Brady Christensen at pick 73. He went off at 72. And then maybe it was 70 and 69. I don't know. Either way, the first 3rd round pick, Brady Christensen went off the board to Carolina. Denver punted. They were going to take, they were all raring to take Spencer Brown with that first 3rd round pick they got from the Saints in that trade back. I think it was the Saints. And off the board, the Bills 4 picks earlier. And same thing with Tommy Doyle in the 5th round. The Bills took him as well, 2 picks earlier. So it's unfortunate. It's the way it is. You're not ever going to have a perfect roster or no areas where you're not concerned about. But it's unfortunate to have Juwan James get injured like this before the season even started. It sucks. Yeah. And we had a lot of hope for the offensive line. It still can be a good line, but definitely takes the wind out of the sails.
Yeah. I think the name that becomes a little bit more intriguing for me is Ricky Wagner, just because he has played right tackle and left tackle. So whoever wins or loses between Calvin Anderson and Ricky Wagner can play that swing tackle position. And you can feel pretty comfortable that, comfortable is a big word here. We got different levels of comfort, I guess you could say. But I could feel okay with that because at least they've had some experience at both spots.
My favorite one is Charles Leno, and he hasn't even played right tackle. I thought he was like, the Bears did not like him, but Mitchell Trubisky was not very good, A, and had no pocket presence, B. So if you are comfortable with him moving at right tackle, I feel like he's probably got the most in the tank, but you have to be comfortable with him playing right tackle because we're just projecting from here. So, or if you're if you're Mike Munchak, you're like, are you comfortable moving this guy over? Yeah, we can do it. Sign me up. We got Juan Romero coming in over at YouTube with the $3 super. Thank you so much, Juan, rocking the Apollo astronaut picture there. Do we have to pay him next year if we cut him? I don't think so. I don't know how that. Honest to God, that's a great question. If you get on me on Twitter at Nick Kendell MHH, I'll look into that. I'll reach out to some people. I can also tell you a couple other draft cap people to look into. Is Nick Cohorte. Over at Twitter. I'll drop his link in the chat because he has, him and Bob Morris, our own Bob Morris, are fantastic for cap stuff. So I'll drop both of them in the chat so you guys can follow them. And I might hit them up as well. Actually, I'll do that right now. So Carl, take the lead here for a second while I do some business here of asking our guys what's going on with that cap situation.
Okay. Well, we got Peter Parker. Oh man, Spider-Man. We got a celeb in the house for us here with the $5 super chat. Really appreciate that, Peter Parker. Good evening, gents. What about Ricky Wagner? He had a 78.2 PFF ranking, good for the 24th overall, and ranks above 60th percentile in pass protection. Would also be cheap. Yeah, I just mentioned him. I don't know if this question was already in there or not, but he's definitely a viable option. Has played a lot of different spots. Like I said, he's played right tackle, he's played left tackle to varying degrees, I would say. I don't think, again, you're not getting a quality starter, but there are some still decent names. Like I said, Leno could be a pretty decent player, especially if he can make that switch over to right tackle. Ricky Wagner, again, he played at a decent level this last year. And so much, so this is something else we need to talk about. So much of the tackle position really does depend on quarterback play. And running back play too. You got some running backs who are just terrible at seeing where the hole's opening up. So the offensive line can have it blocked perfect, and the running back still runs into the back of the offensive line and gains 2 yards instead of the 7 or 8 yards if he had decent vision. Quarterback. How many times did we talk about this with Trevor Siemian? He would drop back like 10 yards and then sit there. And we're talking about this giant arc that any kind of edge rusher can get around. The best quarterbacks like a Tom Brady do a great job of being only about 3 or 4 yards back and making it where it's really hard to beat them around the edge. The only way you can really win that is if you take those inside routes. Well, if an offensive tackle knows that, they shadow to the inside and dare you to beat them to the outside. And so, again, that's why this so much depends on who the quarterback is and the running backs as well for how successful an offensive tackle can really be.
Yeah, and just doing some research here live on the show. Somebody dropped it in here. Troy Slough. And thank you, Peter, very much for the $5 super saying I clicked that link. The Over the Cap one. Over the Cap is a great resource. And they say even if the Broncos release James, they will still carry over a salary cap charge of $9 million due to his $12 million signing bonus paid in 2019. Then the Broncos will. So it looks like they're not going to have actually anything against the cap in 2022, but they would still have a $9 million this season. So, that is what it is, right? I probably am. I know that maybe like I would even say like, here's a injury settlement or whatever. Here's $2 million. Sorry, this happened. Let's just call it good because let's be honest, guys. I don't think Juwan James is that happy with the Broncos either. Given what we've heard about what happened in 2019 when he was cleared, but he said he was not good to go. So, that's I think both sides they were already heading for a divorce. Now we're here. We're here. So speaking of here, finally joining us today in the chat, not too late there, Mark, with the $20 super lighting up orange. Mark Langley, thank you very much. What's up, guys? James has a season-ending injury, just like his own eyebrows has been a season-end injury through his whole life. Man, Mark, pulling no punches there. That's that guy has a family. His agent called him to be a full-time sponsor for Mop and Glow. Oh man, damn the luck, BTB. Well, Mark, I want to reiterate, I feel bad for James for the injury because going through that rehab process sucks. Now it sucks less when you are paid like he has been paid, right? Like that's the name of the game. And also, in the NFL, you are taking that risk when you're playing the game. But man, it's Mark, you got to say 3 nice things now. Otherwise the universe is going to come back at you. That's just the rules. So, but we'll see. And we got John coming in here, available tackles. So thank you very much for the list here, John. And we got Fisher, Kelly, Massey, Okung, Villanueva, not anymore. Signed with the Ravens today. Wagner and Leno at 37. Rodgers is better than Locke and Bridgewater. Well, yes, to the last one. Out of these other ones, I mean, the Broncos are going to bring in somebody. Honestly, I think you could see them sign Dotson tomorrow, and it's like, okay, Dotson versus Anderson. Fingers crossed, because we know both of these guys. You guys know the system. There's not going to be that much. Like, you already have chemistry with Glasgow. So that's probably the most not needle-moving move, but also probably the most likely, and something like you can get Dotson for super cheap also. So I don't know. Michael Ojemudia at right tackle, maybe. I mean, heck, Patrick Surtain has a really long arm length, right? They kept talking about how long he was for the position. We need to tackle, buddy. We already have too many corners. Let's get out there. Let's see what happens. There
you go. Perfect. Let's see. Any other good questions we got coming in here?
We're making some people laugh, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's if you can't laugh about it, I mean, I'm not laughing at Juwan. It's just like, of course, this is the situation the Broncos find themselves again, right? Like, we preach about the cornerback depth. We're concerned about the linebacker room, edge rusher, et cetera, and tackle. And the Broncos already made a huge investment in Bulls. Juwan James is there. And I'm like, you know what? If you're banking on Juwan James, you're leaving yourself really vulnerable. You got to look at a tackle at 9. You got to look at him in the top 100 picks because he hasn't played in 2 years. Has an injury history. And when the Broncos medical staff cleared him, he said, no, I don't feel 100%. I'm not playing. So I didn't trust him, and it sucks, but here we are. I don't know. It just is what it is. And I hope he gets back and he can make some more money. So, man, interesting comment here from Miners. What do you from George coming over on YouTube? Do you have any thoughts here?
Well, I'm trying to remember what is his arm length. And I don't have any problem at least give him a shot because he's kind of a player this year. You and I have talked about it. We like the player. Maybe a little bit early for this kind of position to go with the interior offensive line. When you already have Moody, you already got your starting 3 guys. That maybe Miners is a little bit of a luxury than a need. And so if he has the ability to go play that right tackle spot, I'd give him a shot. At least see what he can do. I mean, what can it hurt to give him a few snaps, just see if he can even handle it?
Man, he's under 6'3". I know he has solid arm length and good mass, but like, he just does not have the typical body type, right? Like, you want to have like 2 more inches on there, and then already going from D3 where he played left guard to the NFL where he's going to be now playing right tackle.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think you're more likely to see Calvin Anderson stick there. It works out than see Miners be moved there his rookie season and having it work out.
Now, I will say, though, he made one of the smartest decisions of any draft prospect where he didn't have the greatest tape out there from college. And obviously his season got canceled this last year. He went and worked with one of the best offensive line minds in football, and Duke Manyweather.
Yep.
And that was such a smart decision of, okay, I could just work out at home, which he did a lot of that too. But I mean, he went and got the training to really better himself and give himself a chance then at the Senior Bowl to go and really shine. So that's, again, I mean,
is that something you think you're going to see going forward from like some of these small school guys? Like, everybody says like nothing beats reps, but if you're playing D3 and you want a chance to be in the league, I personally would be like, the one-on-one training you get might actually be better than the live reps. Maybe. I mean, didn't hurt Trey Lance, right? Quinn Miners comes from a priority free agent to day 2 pick. I mean, I don't know. And that's not to disparage against any of those D3 coaches or FCS coaches or anything, but I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think you're going to see more movement going forward with these players, not just like that kind of thing, but also hopping up levels and going like with Jabril Cox, so to speak, going to LSU.
Yeah. And if they have a chance to go work with somebody that the NFL highly respects, like a Duke Manyweather that they bring in for different training camps and things like that, you can't get much better than that, because he's going to go talk to these NFL teams who will ask him questions. What do you think of this guy? Boom, there you go. So, I think that, like I said, it was one of the best decisions of any draft prospect and raised his draft grade. I mean, like I said, priority free agent to 3rd round. That is a huge jump for a prospect that didn't play this last year.
For a position he didn't play.
Yeah.
So we got Hana 3000 coming into the $5 super. He says, doesn't James have alopecia? Some of the fans are taking the lowest of blows. LOL, keep up the great works, fellas. Yeah, I mean, when you sign a contract like that and you have a lot of fans who have been upset about the contract to begin with, it's going to happen, right? And you have a choice to be that guy or not. And, I'm not going to tell you to do it either way. You're a fan. You have a right to an opinion. But I'm not going to try to take too low blows here because it sucks. It's not a situation. The Broncos would be better if this didn't happen. Right. And that's where I'm at. And it sucks. It just sucks. You can't plan for it, but what can you do? That's life. Carl, look out. Carl Dumler for right tackle. Nick, your thoughts from Mark Langley coming in over on YouTube. You know what? I don't think Carl is the biggest guy. He's more of a wide receiver. And, I just don't want to do that to him. He's got things on his plate. He's got a family, and the AFC West it's a man's division. And not that Carl's not a man, but like hanging up at the offensive line, I don't know, Carl. Like I love you. I think I love you too much to put you in that situation, right? Like I don't want to be here a year from now where Carl got to run at right tackle and like you're getting roasted in the chat. I couldn't handle that. I love you too much.
Hey, if I get paid millions to go take 63 snaps, I'm all for it, man. I'll do that. Even if I get blown over like crazy and they just look at this, 200 pound man that has really, really short arms. I mean, I'm like the definition of T-Rex arms. It just I have no reach. So I don't care if I'm making millions and then people are going, oh my gosh, what were the Broncos thinking bringing in this guy? And then I come back here and people roast me for it. I'm good with it. But they're not calling me. I can promise you that. Like I said, those T-Rex arms, they'll take one look and say, get out of here.
We got Gustavo Lopez. Don't get out of here, Gustavo. $5 super over on YouTube. If we don't get Rodgers, do you guys think we'll trade for a right tackle? You guys are my favorite. Gustavo, you're our favorite. We love you. Thank you so much for showing us the love, man. That's a nice comment in the super, man. That really goes a long way, and it makes me feel important. I don't get that love at home. So no, I'm just kidding. I really appreciate that. Yeah, he said Carl will laugh from his new mansion. What was the question? Would they trade for a right tackle? I don't know, man. I mean, like, what teams right now have right tackles that might be available? I guess Buffalo is sitting there with tackles out, both wazoos, but both of them are like developmental guys. So like Darrell Williams just had a contract. Deion Dawkins has a contract. There aren't that many good tackles. So I think maybe when if the Broncos let's say they bring in Dotson, just again, that's the low bar, easy move. And you're looking at this unit after week 2 of 3 of preseason. You're like, you know what? They're starting to cut down teams. We need to go out there and make a move and toss like a 2022 fifth. That's when you're starting to look at that. But I think before that, you see them make a move for somebody like a Dotson, maybe like a Leno or Leno, which I thought was not possible until Kliss threw it out, although Kliss could just be throwing stuff at a wall. But, I think it's possible, but I think you're going to see a free agent move that precedes that.
Honestly, I would say you'd probably more see a trade if they actually did bring in Rodgers, just because they'd say, we've got to go all in.
Yeah,
we're willing to go pay big draft capital to get a guy in here. That's when I think you'd actually see a trade more so than Drew Lock, some of these others where they're going to be like, we have to keep our draft picks because we might be trading up for a quarterback next year. So that's where I would say more of a trade would happen.
Yeah, and I'm thinking this happened so recently that I'm not even like sure who would be available. Like I went through the free agents, so like contractually, who makes sense to trade for at the right tackle position? I'd have to do some research on that as well. I'm not sure. Nobody really is coming to mind here. Do you have anybody that might? Obviously, the AFC West is out, but tackles.
I'm trying to think. I'd have to go through some rosters, see who are some like backups that could be starters on other teams. But you're right. I
got a list here of some.
Okay.
You got most of these are left or right tackles, but most of these are left tackles, but still, these are the guys who have contracts that are over at the end of this year. So probably a little easier to trade. Dwayne Brown, Trent Brown in New England, probably not going to get him. Riley Reef, Cincinnati just signed him. Cedric Ogabui, Sam Tevy. It's not great, guys. It's not great. Let me just put it that way. Maybe Bobby Hart, since the Bengals were moved on from their right tackle, but you're probably going to just bring in somebody and then kind of reassess from there. It's unfortunate, but that's probably where we're at.
Yeah, it's like you said, there's such a limited supply of good tackles out there that if you've got them, you hold on to them. Naseki with the Cowboys is one that, I mean, he's had some hype at different times, a little bit older. I could see maybe some team being willing to take a little bit more of a chance on him and just trade. I mean, it wouldn't take a whole lot.
What about he hasn't been very good recently, and he signed a really stupid contract. But what about a Nate Soldier? Post June 1st, he'd have post June 1st trade. It would have a $6.5 million dead cap hit with a $4 million dead cap in 2022 and $3 million dead cap in 2021. Now, odds are you probably have to overpay because of that. But that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Man. There's not a good answer.
Yeah, there really isn't, and that's why again I'm saying the only way that you would actually trade for somebody is if you're just going all in and saying we have to be willing to overpay for a guy that we know is probably just going to be average, but that's all we need at the position.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it really sucks that Villanueva signed today before this news came out, because that would be the obvious answer. But here we are. Peter Parker coming back in, swinging back in, got some pictures of Spidey. God, I need more pictures of Spider-Man. No, we've established that our new general manager is a patient man. That said, good chance he remains so and waits on the rehab news of Schwartz. Patient Patton. I think that's not a bad option. Maybe, and you know what? Go out and get Dotson now and say, Schwartz, look, we're looking to go get Aaron Rodgers. We know you couldn't pass a physical right now, but talk to us in August. Let's keep in touch. We'd love to have you. And how great would it be to stick it to the Chiefs that moved on from you and cut you after you got injured? I don't know. I mean, this is a good comment by Peter. I thought about it as well, and that's one where you can wait a little bit, right? Yeah. I think you can be patient with that one. That's a good call. Bring in Dotson now or somebody else, and then if it's not working for you, then you can look at a Schwartz if he is healthy, which if he was healthy, guys, guess what? He wouldn't still be available.
Right.
He wouldn't pass a physical right now.
Yeah, I would have a hard time even seeing the Chiefs deciding to not try to go get him right off the bat. And they're the team that knows him the best, obviously. Mm-hmm. And he's served them well, being an all-pro right tackle. It's just been crazy. Any good tackles on the Vikings?
They just drafted one in the first round, so that might answer it for you. They have not been that impressed, and Reef is gone. Brian O'Neill, not really a scheme fit, right? He's a wide zone guy. He's not going to be able to drive block guys. So,
right.
Unfortunately, I like where your head's at, Christos, but probably not. Probably not. We got Mark Langley coming back in. Carl, that's the correct answer. No low blows on James, just facts. Nick, you're one hell of a guy, a good man with a good heart. That goes for Carl as well. Hashtag go lock, hashtag go lock, hashtag go Broncos. And with that go lock in there, guys, obviously this isn't ideal for Locke or whoever the Broncos quarterback is.
Right.
But can we just agree that if Locke is the starter this year, no more excuses? I'm already hearing, well, he lost his right tackle before the season even started. Let me point at every single team across the league and their injuries and saying, well, nobody can be held accountable. It doesn't matter. He was bad. So I just want to get out in front of that. Let's be better than that. Let's be better.
Right. The good players, they rise above the issues that are around them. Something happens. They're the player that rises up and shows everybody else, hey, we can handle this. And we got Christopher Kramer coming in saying, I trust Peyton will fix this 100. He hasn't disappointed. I mean, I think if some of you cued in on our draft coverage, obviously first round we were a little disappointed. But as the draft kind of played out a little bit more and more, we liked a lot of what he did, especially second, third, fifth round there, and really not redeemed himself, but kind of gave a picture of what he was trying to figure out, given the full picture. And again, still, people keep asking me what grade would I give this draft? And I said, honestly, right now, it's kind of an incomplete until we kind of know what happens with the Aaron Rodgers situation. If Aaron Rodgers happens, then you look at this draft and you say, that was really smart to go really refill that entire defense with all these players and get yourself another weapon on offense that can work great with Aaron Rodgers, all those kind of things. And even if it is Drew Lock, I mean, it still makes sense because your defense was getting older, getting very top heavy in contracts.
Yeah.
And so you needed to get younger and cheaper at the positions. So, I mean, the entire thing started making sense. I like George Paton. I do question a little bit on the quarterback decision to pass, especially when one fell to you at 9. You didn't have to trade up to get him. Yeah,
no, that's a good comment there. I mean, if I didn't still have this hope that Rodgers was in play, I probably would have been more devastated than I am, just because I really did like Justin Fields. And but once Trey Lance went, I had a feeling in my gut that it was not going to break the way that we had hoped. I'm just happy. Honestly, I'm just happy that they didn't take Micah Parsons. that's what I'm leaning into that one. I'm looking at the sunny side here, and Jay saying, Carl, you were going to cry. You were dancing because you thought it was Fields, and I did too. Jay, you guys need a support group, but it might be okay if the Broncos end up getting Rodgers, or if Locke figures it out, which is still the best case scenario. We don't know until we know. We just project based on the knowledge we have to this point, but that's the future's yet to be written, right? I think that was Natasha Leone or somebody said that. The rest is unwritten. So speaking of unwritten, go ahead, Carl.
I was just going to say, I'm still mad at Twitter because there's like 5 people in a row. They're like, Broncos drafted Justin Fields. So that's why I was dancing on the screen, just going crazy. Because I was like, it happened. It has happened. My guy's here. And then I see some people going, Surtain. I'm like, wait, what happened here? Getting conflicting reports. And so then all of a sudden my face, I'm sure everybody saw it like, it was, oh man. It was tough to stay on air. I'll be honest.
Oh, Carl, on your birthday of all things.
I know.
It's going to be okay. You're going to be real happy when Surtain is blanketing tight ends in the division from the slot.
That's right.
So we'll be happy. Drake Frost coming in here. I want to get on this before we get on out of here. Any chance Drew Himmelman can step up during OTAs? There's a chance, but an undrafted free agent offensive tackle coming in and nailing it in getting the starting spot, right? Like as a rookie, like you're talking about, like I can't even think of that happening, right? Like typically offensive line, even first round picks need time to marinate on the offensive line. It's such a developmental position. So to have a UDFA come in, I mean, anything can happen, right? It's a weird process this year. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but I would be absolutely shocked and just absolutely shocked. Speaking of shocked, Mark coming in with the top rope monster super here. And this is for you guys, Mark. That is way too nice. Gosh, I almost made a joke about getting injured and having to give it back, but I'm going to be better than that because he called me nice. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But Mark, thank you so much for that. Man, what a way to get out of here. That was so generous. We appreciate you guys. That's going to do it for Building the Broncos. We will be back next Tuesday, same time, same place. You guys can check us out. We will be Mountain Time. I'm trying to do the conversion. It's just -1 hour, Nick. 6 Mountain Time, God's time. We will be live again next Tuesday. You guys can find us on Twitter at BTB Football Pod and at Mile High Huddle. Also, guys, if you like the hat, you like the swag, Chad has a guy who makes all this stuff, and we're looking pretty good here, looking pretty fly. If Carl could find his hat, go to huddleuppod.com, get your swag on. Also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. Join us there. That'd be great. If you're joining us on YouTube today, subscribe, like, and share. That's probably the single most helpful thing you can do because we're trying to grow this Broncos country. Is not just a single place, and with the age of the internet and everything going on, right? You don't have to be in Denver to get the best Denver news, right? Your Denver Broncos news. We are everywhere. We're coming at you every single day. This is my second live stream today. I'm hyped up. I've had too much coffee, and I'm trying to plow through all of this and get through. Guys, you can find us on Twitter as well, our own individual accounts here, at Carl Dumler and at Nick Kendell MHH. And I'm now seeing that our formatting is different. Carl, extra prayers for the O-line. Well, extra prayers indeed. Want to also say we love y'all. Thank you, everybody who joined in today in the chat. Obviously, it's a little harder without the producer in the background, but we got through. So if we missed anything, please reach out to us on Twitter and show me it. And I will make sure that we get to it either Scott and myself on Thursday morning or next week with Carl. We appreciate you. Carl, what do you have going the rest of the night?
Well, I'm back on the rowing machine. So I got to go get my exercise in for the day. I've been going like crazy. We delivered all of Tuesdays are our food day, and so went from that golfing to the daughter straight to here. So I got to go get the workout in, and got to get a little office work done. Unfortunately, getting a little behind. I know. So, but otherwise, yeah. Then head to bed, get some good sleep. What about you?
I got to go do groceries. So, but I think we're gonna have Mexican food tonight. A little Taco Tuesday action.
Ooh.
So I'm going to be showing up at the restaurant to pick up the food, looking like Quinn Miners with that crop top with my gut hanging out. Like, it's Taco Tuesday, baby. I'm here. We're going to let everyone get out. We appreciate the heck out of you. Have a good night. Stay safe. Love y'all. Go Broncos.